Hey, I'm back. It's Midnight Strike. Or at least that's how I began my last review of this album. That's right, we're going there. My worst review ever, and I am redoing it for you guys. All I Was by Tremonti. Of course, I'm going to leave the old review up, and I might even post this as a video response, just so you guys can see what I mean by it's not my greatest review. Probably, in all honesty, it's probably my worst. But I just wanted to take a second look at this album because a lot of things that I said in that review, I've changed. Like, I've changed my mind about. So this album has definitely grown on me. I did re-review it a little bit, kind of like a big basic overview in my reviews finale of the best albums of 2012. So, check that out if you ever have the time. But overall, my main gripe with this was radio-friendly tone. It's got this radio-friendly polish to it. And I still don't like the radio-friendly polish. That's probably not going to change. It sounds kind of like in the vein of, say, Blackbird or like AB3, newer Full Circle Creed, stuff like that. Just like the guitar, the tone, the radio friendliness, and it just sounds really, really over the top polished. And that, when Tremonti was saying he was going to produce a metal album, didn't really sit well with me at the time. Now, a year later, I have learned to accept it for what it is, and good songs on here. There was a lot of songs that I actually skipped over and just judged as filler when they're really not. So, to get into this, Mark Tremonti released this in July of 2012. I reviewed it a couple days after. I was a little late on it, so I just wanted to get that review out as fast as possible. And, Mark Tremonti of Creed and Alter Bridge fame, so what do you expect, It's a good album, to say the least. And it sounds kind of in the vein of maybe a heavier Alter Bridge a little bit, but it's still got that hard rock tone to it, like I said, with the polish. Not quite metal, maybe on the edge of heavy metal, but not quite thrash or anything like that, anything too extreme. So, yeah, it's definitely not death metal. Jeez, that would be interesting. Creed death metal band, or Tremonti. But yeah, I heard Tremonti singing, I believe in 2009, with My Own Prison. I heard his backing vocals, and I honest to God, thought they were better than Scott Stapp himself. Of course, Scott Stapp's vocals weren't exactly prime back then, or up to par even, but, I digress. His vocals are amazing. Tremonti's, that is. So, yeah, I was just blown away. I was completely captivated by that. I was thinking, you know what, if he ever, ever, produces a solo album, which at the time, I thought was very, very highly unlikely, he better do the vocals too. And I knew that even though him doing a solo album was unlikely, I knew that even him singing was probably even more unlikely. So I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna, keep this song and listen to it because I really do like his vocal style. So, lo and behold, 2 years later, All I Was comes out, hits the shelves, and like I said, I gotta admit, I was expecting thrash or like metal or something like that. So when I heard You Waste Your Time, initially I was very disappointed. I thought it was a really repetitive song with a really weird, bouncy kind of up and down riff, but now I actually really dig it. I love the chorus. I love the way he sings. I love the intricate melodies of the guitar work. The drumming is practically perfect. You can definitely hear the bass in there. So, really like the song. Really like it. It's one of my favorites. Brains, You Waste Your Time, So You're Afraid. What's another one? Decay, Proof. I've got so many favorites. And, of course, the riff in the title track is absolutely phenomenal. So, like I said, gonna get into a little bit of a history of the band, or Tremonti, that is. He started out with Creed. Creed broke up. Basically, this is the short version. Started out with Creed, did some backing vocals and some Creed stuff on My Own Prison, which was probably their rawest album, I must say. Their rawest album was definitely their first. My Own Prison sounds almost grungy-ish, so he did some backing vocals on My Own Prison, and then I don't know if he did any more. No, he didn't do any more on any of the other albums until 2009 when they reformed, and he was featured on A Thousand Faces. So that was pretty cool to hear his vocals again on there. but he was always a phenomenal guitarist, and he definitely showcases that in Alter Bridge, where he does more creative stuff. He does more of the solos and riffing and stuff like that. And Alter Bridge formed after Creed initially broke up in 2004, but then they said, Creed is never going to reunite, and that Mark Tremonti was basically the spokesperson for that, so he basically, nailed the coffin shut. So, but then again, cemented it, practically. But lo and behold, they're back, and I'm actually kind of happy for it, because Stapp is actually regaining his vocals. So, that aside, this album, 2012, what does it have in store? Well, 12 tracks. I know I said it has a lot of filler in my last review, but no, it does not. Actually, almost all of these songs are epic. Okay, so I'm going to get into a little bit of track by track. Leave It Alone is the first one. Not too big of a fan of this song. I mean, it's good, it's alright, but his vocals are good, guitars are good, but I don't really like the structure overall, and the chorus just kind of falls flat, in my opinion, in my mind. Wasn't exactly the best way to start out the album. Probably the best way would be to skip to So You're Afraid, or at least in my opinion, I think he definitely should have opened it with So You're Afraid, because that's the next song. Intro sounds a little bit like You Waste Your Time, but then it quickly differentiates itself with the rest of the structure, with the vocals, with the verses, the chorus, and definitely one of my top picks. So, next one, Brains, those three chords, those beginning three chords, had me hooked. Or those beginning three notes, I should say. Just amazing, epic track, epic vocals, epic riff structure, and just guitar work, drums, everything about this song is just practically insane. Probably my favorite song on the album, if you haven't already guessed by my tone of voice when I talk about it. So, the things I've seen, this one is more of like a softer ballady, well, not so much ballady kind of song as it is softer than the rest of the album. It's a little bit more downbeat, down to earth, and I gotta say, I really like it. It's good. Good vocals, good lyrics. That's another thing that is very prevalent on this album. Every single song has great and phenomenal lyrics, too. So, the things I've seen took me a long time to get into. In my original review, I just brushed it off as filler, but I was mistaken. I listened to this pretty much every time I listened to All I Was. I'm just like, things I've seen. And, of course, track number 3, Wish You Well, before Brains, of course. I forgot about Wish You Well. So we're going to go back one. And track 3, it opens up with like a chugging style riff, and Mark Tremonti sort of going, in a more straightforward pace, kind of structure-ish kind of thing. It has a little bit of intricacy with the lead solos a little bit, so it's got a pretty straightforward melody. Really like it. And it's kind of unique in that Mark Tremonti sort of goes a little bit lower with his vocals, which is pretty cool. So that song is pretty good. And then, of course, 4, Brains' favorite track, like I said. 5, Things I've Seen, already gone over it. But 6 is the lead single, You Waste Your Time, and love this song. One of my favorites. Really like the chorus especially. He just pounds out those vocals and just pounds on that guitar. It just sounds great. It sounds phenomenal. Goes at a perfect speed as well, so hey, take it for what it is. Awesome song. The next one, I'm still not so sure about, New Way Out. Not really a big fan of this. It's more of a slower song. It's probably the most downbeat track on the album, and I don't know. Like I said, in my original take, I just said, okay, filler, whatever, but I wouldn't say it's filler, but it's just, I don't know. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite. I don't really know how to describe it, and let's see, next one is Giving Up. This one is more of a faster paced kind of thing, and or at least faster than New Way Out anyways, but yeah, I like his vocals, lyrics are good, pretty good song overall. Proof, really like the beginning of it. Mark Tremonti definitely showcases his talents here. Next one, All I Was, that riff in the beginning of the song, or throughout, moreover, is probably one of my favorite riffs in hard rock history. Really like it, really catchy. It's got really a lot of drive to it. I don't really know how else to describe it. Lyrics are good, vocals, of course. It's Mark Tremonti. What else can you say about it? It's got a good breakdown in the 3/4 of the way through it. So overall, good song. Next one, Doesn't Matter. This one's pretty good. It's got some, pretty good drums actually. The drums are very audible in this one, and they very much stick out. So next one is Decay. Probably has my favorite vocal bits in here, and it's a perfect way to close off the album. So, overall, I'm probably gonna give this album, you know, 9 out of 10, I guess. And I think when I last reviewed it, I gave it an 8.5, but I'm going to bump it up to a 9 just because I really like this album, really like the structure of all the songs, except for, New Way Out, with the exception of it, and Leave It Alone. But aside from those two songs, this album does shine brightly above a lot of things that were released in 2012. So my main gripe probably, moreover, is the radio-friendly polish that is used to, you know, over the album. It's like they just glazed it. It could have been really raw. It could have been really edgy. They could have added a few more solos. They could have used a little bit heavier guitars on it, to just bump it up. And the vocals that are showcased on this album, sometimes they just kind of get lost in the mix a little bit. They sound like they're on the same level as, say, like the guitars or the bass or something like that. If they would have brought out the vocals, made them a little bit louder in the mix, maybe the songs would have been a little bit better. Or maybe if they just remixed them all together. But, all the songs on here are roughly 3 to 4 minutes to 5-ish. So, pretty good. Pretty decent length. More so radio singles, kind of like that. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Great album. Check it out. Like I said, to close off my last one. But yeah, so check out my old review. You probably, if you saw that review and judge me on that, please don't judge me on that. I've gotten so much better since then. I'm actually looking at the camera this time. But anyways, 9 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.